Jenna Quinn has been with us before, a survivor of child sexual abuse. This time with Halloween, 3 weeks away, I guess, something like that. Is your community doing anything to prevent convicted sex offenders from giving out candy to kids on Halloween? In some towns, police hold these surprise visits. Some cases, they hold a sex offender roundup. And as I was saying before, first of all, let me welcome to the show Jenna Quinn. Jenna, thanks for being with me once again.
Thank you so much for having me again.
You know, this is important, I believe. And before you came on, and it's been a concern of mine. I just want your take on it. We know all the fentanyl death and everything that's happening with fentanyl coming across the southern border, and now they call it rainbow fentanyl. It looks exactly like candy. If I were a parent, I don't know that I'd let my kid go trick-or-treating this year.
That is exactly right. And I'm so happy that we are having the liberty to talk about this right now because, I grew up in the 90s, and I think that was a really great time to be a kid compared to now. And things have changed so much. In the 90s, the child sex trafficking trade was not surpassing the illegal arms trade or the illegal drug trade, which we see is happening now.
Right.
We are in a completely different time compared to when I was a kid. And so, going door to door is just not recommended anymore by most law enforcement agencies. It's really not. There are safer alternatives. There's community events. Most churches will hold fall festival events. You can have a house party. You can have a block party or another formal party for children to enjoy candy and dress up. It's really become a serious issue, not just from a sex offender perspective, but from the fact that literally every year, and this, we want to encourage parents, and even we need to tell children they need to check candy before they eat it, because it's reported every single year that there is candy that has been tampered with. And we're talking about candy for kids, Skittles and the little Pixie powdered packets. I mean, it doesn't matter. We're talking about all the types of candy. And so it's just really not something I can tell you personally for myself. From a child safety perspective and from a spiritual perspective, my family, my husband and I, we have just made the choice that this is just not a holiday that we're going to celebrate or partake in.
Yeah, I'll take it another step. Thank goodness my kids are all out of the house now, but, I used to take them trick-or-treating, but I wouldn't take them into areas I didn't know, and pretty much you knew people to say hi to and that kind of thing. I wouldn't even do that now. As a matter of fact, my son played sports all the way through school, and my daughter was involved in different things, and they'd want you to go door to door and sell cards or sell Christmas wrapping paper or whatever it was. And at that point, and that was after I got involved with Megan Kenka's parents and other folks, and I said, you know what? You just tell me how big you want the check. If I can do it, I'll do it, but I'm not going to have my kid going door to door asking strangers to buy something when I haven't fully vetted that individual. I'm a parent. My number one responsibility is to keep my kids safe. So if the school needs all the student body out there selling wrapping paper, do us all a favor. Just tell us how much money you need and we'll get together and raise it. I don't let my kid or wouldn't let my kids go door to door for the school. And, I did that. I played on the football team, and every year, a couple of times a year, the booster club would say, here, go sell these giant chocolate bars or whatever it was. And, we'd fan out and do that. But that was a different place and time.
Right.
We need to realize things are totally different now, right?
Things are completely different. It has changed so much. And a lot of that is just our awareness, our education, our understanding. And now that we know better, we need to do better, especially when it comes to our most precious resource on this planet, which is our children and our youth.
Yeah, it just, and I know I'm bursting a few people's bubble because I did a little research. You wouldn't believe the amount of money Americans spend on this holiday. And of course, these are adults and parties and things like that. But, maybe go to a friend's house or a family or, as you say, the church. Other than that, we're not doing this.
That's exactly right. And that's where I have stood with my family. And the other thing, too, is I think, I have a little 2-year-old and who was born in 2020. And the thing is I think my child has seen enough masks. I think my child has seen enough people with their faces covered up. And, that can be scary for some kids, too. And so, that was one of the actual safety tips that I looked at when I was looking at different law enforcement websites that do, thank goodness, give out alerts about this. And they said that it's not recommended for children to wear masks. And this was before 2020, just, for their face to be covered up. It's not good. They can't fully see. They can't fully breathe. And then also, they're around adults that are, should not be, you don't know who they are. Halloween is the best time for dangerous strangers, so you have to be extra careful.
Yeah, it just, there's no reason for it. It was fun at one time, but society was much different then. I know my son-in-law is a sergeant with the police department in the canine division, and he usually works these holidays. And it's good that he's got the dog because the dog sees right through the mask and everything else. He just does what he's told. But when it comes to the kids, my daughter's little girls, 6 and 8, they go to church. The church throws a Christmas party, a Halloween party, and they dress up and all that kind of thing. But as far as going door to door, man, I think it's something that has outlived its usefulness.
I would agree 100% for so many reasons. For child safety, for, what does that teach the child? Aren't we supposed to teach stranger danger? And yet we're going literally, especially in the original article, we're talking about pedophiles. You literally have all the kids in the neighborhood going to your front doorstep.
Right.
So that you can ooh and ah over how cute they are and then give them candy. I mean, that's the oldest trick in the book is, hey, kid, do you want some candy? And so I think that we have outlived that. I think that, I know I'm done with that. I'm not comfortable with going to door personally as an adult. And I know that, my kids just not really comfortable with that either. So I put kids through that. And there's other things that you can do, as we discussed. But here's something really interesting that I was reading. Most hospitals, you'll have to check which hospital is closest to you, but some hospitals will actually Xray your child's candy bag for you. I mean, it's sad that we are living in these times. It's really sad.
That's true. That's true. I was telling the audience a little while ago when I used to take my kids, trick or treating, and we get home, and then you dump it on the floor, dump it on the table, and look for fish hooks and tampered candy, and it's a sad state of affairs when you've got to have your candy Xrayed before you unwrap it. But hey, that's all the more reason, enjoy dressing up or maybe a party or whatever you want to do, but door to door with total strangers, that's insane.
I would agree. I think we're past that. I'm personally past that. Everyone can make that choice, but of course, as someone in child safety, I want to encourage everyone just not to do that anymore.
Yeah, it just, if the kids are all, I know my daughter's two youngest, 6 and 8, they both play soccer and they do traveling soccer. And I know the soccer team, they picked a house and, they're all going there. And that makes sense. The last thing I want, is a 6-year-old going door to door, trick or treat, and then not knowing you have to X-ray what they give you. I mean, that's just this should take about 2 seconds to make a decision on. Jenna, it's always a pleasure. What are you working on, by the way?
Oh, well, you know what? We just had our press release for the Jenna Quinn Law federal legislation that our United States Senate recently passed this session. So right now we are on a huge push to get our United States House members to pass the Jenna Quinn Law before this Congress ends. So that's what we're involved in right now.
All right. Well, if you would, send me that release. Rick Roberts Show at WBAP.com. We'll have you on to talk about it again.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds wonderful. Thanks so much.
Jenna, thank you.